Sunday, June 9th, 09:25 a.m. New York time. Welcome to Winning Wall Street's Money. If you haven't yet, please help the channel, subscribe. It's for free to join my YouTube channel. If you want to get access to the video the same day it's posted and a lot more great information, I have a Patreon link. It's below in the description. And if you like my content and want to make a donation, I have a PayPal, Venmo. The links are below. This past week, Wednesday, the nation of Canada lowered their interest rates. They were previously 5%. They lowered them to 4.75%. That also reflects many lower yields. So in this video, I want to include looking at yields and currencies, mainly currencies. Understand, yields and interest rates correlate. Lower yields, lower interest rates, higher yields, higher interest rates. United States has Federal Reserve Central Bank, aka, have less interest rates on hold. They haven't changed them for a while. They're on hold. They didn't stop nothing. They're on hold. I still believe they're not going to raise them anytime soon. The probability is either leave them on pause or lower them. How can you profit off this? Well, if the yields go lower, that means you earn less income on your fixed income products. So, behoove you to consider investing part of your portfolio into fixed income products. Might be US Treasuries or CDs. You get that higher income before those assets are at a lower price. And if you invest them when they're a lower price, where you're going to earn less income. You got it? Do your due diligence. Looking here on the US Treasury, 30-year US Treasury yield. And the chart is each candle's a week, and it's 5 years. Here's the low of the past 5 years. Here's the high of the past 5 years. So again, the yields have been declining since last year, and they're declining now. We're below the highs of this year. The move is down. Looking here at the 10-year yield. Again, chart is weekly, and it's 5-year charts. Same thing. The high was last year, low is here. We're trending down. And the 5-year yield. Here's the low. Here's the high, trending down. See the correlation? Look at this, the 2-year. High of last year, we're trending down. All these yields are trending lower. Now you can trade these during market hours in the futures market, the options market, the equity market. This is what the street perceives, the traders. You're invested in financial assets, directly and indirectly. This is also your doing. Yep. So again, if the Federal Reserve, aka central bank, lowers interest rates, yeah, you'll see a move on this even more so. Well, there's also a correlation between yields and gold. Let's look at that. Two charts. The left is gold futures. Hear me, gold futures. I'm not talking about gold mining stocks, companies, individuals, partners that invest capital and go through the earth looking for gold. Some lose, some make a wealth amount. I'm talking about the underlying gold futures prices. So the left is the gold futures price, 5-year chart, each candle's a week. And the left is the 10-year yields. Yields, free market trading. Again, these yields trade in the markets. Not talking about the central bank, just the interest rates. Hope you could trade these during regular market hours. So again, look at here, gold for the past 5 years, down here at the bottom. And here's the high this year. First, look at the 10-year yield. Here's the low for the past 5 years. And last year was the high. See the divergency? This year, gold was at the highs. Last year, yields, 10-year yield was at the high. And we saw this on the other yields I showed you, the 30 to 5-2 again, that the yields are declining. Lower yields, lower interest rates. The inverse often is in the metal, gold. So again, see yields going lower, higher probability is that metals will go higher, specifically gold. Silver may lead first. But again, other things change. You could have gold in a tight consolidation like this for a long time. And you're not making money if you sit on gold. Yep, it's not earning income if you sit on gold. Fixed income products, like I told you, CDs, treasuries, they pay you money sitting on those assets. So why would you want to own gold if it's not going to earn income? Unless it's trending. Think about it. Let's go to the next. Ing dollar, the US dollar. Yep. Weekly chart, 5-year. Here's the high. Here's the low. Last year, high. Last year, low. We are inside the range of last year. Also, it's getting tighter. See these white lines? It's building a wedge. In that wedge, those white lines, it's building a coil tighter and tighter. US dollar. Typically, when a nation lowers, aka their central bank lowers interest rates, their currencies get weaker. So if you think the United States is going to lower interest rates, one would be leaning bearish bias on the US dollar. US dollar index is comprised of several currencies. We'll get to that momentarily. Commodities are priced in US dollar. Your commodities of metal, commodities of agricultural, commodities of energy, commodities of livestock. Yeah. So again, if the dollar gets weaker, one would think gold would go higher. Here's the high of the year US dollar. Here's the low of the US dollar. You had this consolidation up here, rejection of US dollar, impulse move down again. Each of these are weekly. So now, just last week, lower high, lower low, US dollar went down. This is demand zone buyers. So you might just have a natural pop. Again, this is a key area right here, swing point. Understand that the US dollar is a safe haven currency. So when there's problems and people want to be in a currency that they feel much more safer, they are flocked by the US dollar. Convert their currency into US dollar. That's not because of interest rates. That's not because of gold. But US dollar is easier to transfer. If you want to store it, it costs less to store it than it does for metals. Gold costs a lot to store and transport. If you got to keep gold coins or gold bars in your home, well, you're not earning income on it. It's sitting there. If you have currencies, you can easily spend it, reinvest it somewhere else much faster. Then again, a gold bar, gold coins. You pay commissions when you buy and sell those. The US dollar, I mentioned, is comprised of several currencies. The weighted average. So in the US dollar, the top 6 currencies in the index are: 1, the euro, makes up more than 57%. So a huge correlation, the US dollar and euro, because it weighs the most. The second largest currency in the US dollar is the Japanese yen, followed by the third, the British pound, then the fourth Canadian dollar, the fifth, the Swiss franc. The Swedish crown, and then the sixth Swiss franc. But again, focus on the 3 main currencies in the US dollar index: euro, Japanese yen, British pound. And I already showed you the US dollar index is between the high and low of last year. Well, we're looking here now at the 5-year chart, weekly candles, the euro. The high of last year, the low of last year, the euro is inside the range. Makes sense, right? Because again, the euro is almost 60% of the US dollar. So there's a huge correlation. And I'm seeing the euro under accumulation, smart money buying. Pulls back on weakness, accumulating. Bullish. Look at the entry. Well, this past week, again, that was an impulse move, that red candle. That was the high. We tested it, broke above it, rejected it. Okay. Again, that red candle's impulse down. Okay, we did it. We tested it. Every time we keep testing this blue line, we're eventually high probability break above it. So I'm going to remove that because we already tested it. This big green candle was an impulse move up. That's a key level. That was a big body, almost solid body. That was an impulse up. Bullish impulse up. Smart money, buyers stepped in there. Yep, so come down here for a retest. One should be looking to consider here as potential buying area. See how things go. Same down here. Japanese yen this year for the 5 years, all-time low. I showed you on the other videos, the higher time frame, 20 years, the euro, the dollar, Japanese yen is 20-year low. Yeah. So again, I would not want to be buying it down here. Nope. Could still go lower. Has not proven itself otherwise. And the third largest currency I mentioned in the US dollar, the British pound. Here's the high of last year. Here's the low of last year. We're still inside the range of last year. Again, look at this, the high of this year. We're sellers there before, and we're trending back up there. Got it. So the euro and the British pound are making attempts to make new highs. They're under accumulation. That's good. First, the yen is down. Got it. So the US dollar index diversified, but we see the stronger currencies in the US dollar. First, the weaker one being the yen. Now looking at the Australian dollar, yeah, it's weak. Look at this huge trend down. Australia being one of the nations, their currency, their nation is more weighted in commodities, metals, energy, cattle, livestock. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, their currencies are affected hugely by the demand for metals and energy. Yep, got it. Trending down. And if you look at the Australian dollars, are very similar. Canadian dollar, same thing, trending down. Well, I already showed you Canada lowered its interest rates. I typically say when a country lowers their interest rate, it weakens their currency. Also, if you have metals and energy, if they're weak, it weakens their currencies. Several correlations. And we're very close, Canadian dollar, very close to the low of this year. Still inside the range of last year. But look at that, huge sell-off. Again, makes sense to be bearish certain currencies. And the ones I showed you are the leaders. Swiss franc, considered a safe haven currency. Huge trading range last year. Here's the low last year. Here's the high of last year. And we're still inside that range. Japanese yen, Swiss franc, American dollar, they're considered safe haven currencies. Doesn't mean they necessarily go to all of them. Nope. They're going to the US dollar. They're not going to the yen. Mexican peso. Just had the election this year. Congratulations. The first time they had a female president of Mexico. Good job out of them. Their currency, huge move, making a new low this year. It did that before the election here too. And it also made a new high this year. Don't blame it on the president. Nope. Give her time. She has not made any policies that affect their nation as a whole yet. Again, past several years, Mexican peso was going up against the US dollar. Swing point here, key level. And look for buyers potentially be stepping in here and for the reversal. And the US dollar and Chinese yuan. High of last year, low of last year, huge consolidation. US dollar gaining strength again, coming back up to that area that was a prior supply zone. Then Chinese yuan is hugely manipulated. Yeah, you can say every currency nation manipulates. China's much more manipulated. Again, it's a communist nation. I would not recommend you want to be invested in their currency. Okay, crypto, Bitcoin. Look at the past 5 years. Similar pattern this year as gold. Remember, I showed you gold was up here. Gold made a new high for the 5 years. Bitcoin made a new high 5 years. Almost like a huge cup pattern. A lot of chop over here, spending a lot of time up here. So it's been under accumulation because the Security Exchange Commission changed the policy and let institutions put them in these funds, investment funds. So it's not so much a retail been buying, it's an institution buying, making those stock ETFs. So on the crypto, a Bitcoin, a lot of rejection up here, sellers up here, and accumulation down here. Well, buying at the highs, how often is that successful versus buying at the lows? Huge move up. A lot of chop over here. Yep. If you're bullish Bitcoin, I highly recommend you have it. Sit on hands and wait for that pullback. Big bullish candle. Almost solid body. That's an impulse move up. If you've been following my videos for a while, you know what I talk about. Continue places, potential retracements. Big body. Let's label the midpoint. Again, potential price areas, look for entries. For now, I think it's very important. Those top three currencies I mentioned, we look a little deeper in them so you get a better idea. The top three currencies in the US dollar index is the euro, the yen, and the British pound. They don't just trade against the US dollar. There's other correlations with other countries. But to harp it back again on the leadership, I'll show you how they're performing against other countries too. So you get a much more broader view. I already spoke about the euro US dollar. We saw how that's doing. How about the euro yen? Two different parts of the planet, Europe and Asia, euro and the yen. Euro being the first three letters, that means when the trend is up, that's favor of the euro. Euro has been getting stronger, hitting an all-time new high for the past 5 years against the yen. I showed you the yen is weak against the US dollar. The yen is weak against the euro. Just to give you confirmation again, why would you want to be buying yen when it hasn't proven itself yet? Yeah, euro, all-time new high for the past 5 years against the yen. Euro, British pound, very close to the low. Inside candle for the week. Again, when this trends down, it's a weaker euro, stronger British pound. We're going to see if we got a breakout of this next week. Again, very close inside candle near the low of the year. Let's see if we get a reversal out there. Again, if it breaks down, that'd be what? Weaker euro, stronger British pound. Now we're looking at the Europeans, North Americans, i.e. euro, Canadian dollar. Again, when this trends up, it's stronger euro. But look at the last year, high and low of last year. This year, it's in a tight consolidation. It's trending up, currently strengthening for the euro. We already saw why Canada, I showed Canadian dollar is weak against the United States. That also makes sense. The euro is strong against the Canadian. And the euro, Swiss franc, two European currencies. When it trends down, that's weak the euro. Well, this year, we're coming off the lows, trending up, giving strength to the euro and the Swiss franc. That slammed down the past few weeks as this went down hard. That's bullish Swiss franc. So something is going on here. Situation awareness. And again, Europe and Asia, euro and the Australian dollar. Explain well, the Australian dollar is heavily weighted towards the commodities. Here's the high of last year. Here's the low of last year. Look how tight this consolidation is. Yep. So again, when this trends up, it's stronger the euro. Well, there's a lot of consolidation here. It's building energy for a breakout, one point away to the other. So a higher probability we're going to see, I still believe that it's going to break out to the upside, giving strength to the euro. Time will tell. Let's go back to the, let's go next to the yen. Already showed you the yen US dollar. We've already looked at the euro yen. How about the pound and the yen? All-time new high. Yep, outstanding. Again, first three letters represents the British pound. And when this is trending up, that's bullets the first three letters. So British pound, all-time new high against Japanese yen. Again, bearish bias Japanese yen against the US dollar, euro, British pound. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Even the Canadian dollar is on the bandwagon. All-time new high against the Japanese yen. Swiss franc, Japanese yen. Both countries are considered safe haven currencies, but big difference. Swiss franc, all-time new high for the past 5 years against the Japanese yen. And Australian dollar, Japanese yen, both in the Asia Pacific. Australian dollar, strong against the Japanese yen. Or finishes off by looking at the third currency, the British pound. I already spoke about the British pound, US dollar. We already did the pound yen, pound euro. Let's look at the pound Canadian dollar. And when this trends down, it's weaker, British pound. Well, here's the low of last year. Here's the low of this year. It's trending up. British pound is gaining strength against the Canadian dollar. We already took out the high of last year, which was here. The British pound is gaining strength. So we saw the US dollar is stronger against the Canadian dollar. You see the British pound stronger against the Canadian dollar. Hopefully you understand who's the leadership, which currencies. British pound, Swiss franc, which is interesting. Huge consolidation here from last year. This year, made a new high. Again, British pound gaining strength. But the past 2 weeks, sell-off. British pound, Australian dollar. Here's the low of last year. Here's the high of last year. Huge trading range last year. The end of last year, tight consolidation, tight consolidation. Again, trending up, giving strength to the British pound. Building energy there, looking for that breakout. Thank you as always for spending just a little bit of your time with me. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching.